Hello and welcome. This is Godless Scummer, and we are doing Asterix in Belgium this week. You are all more than welcome. Hope you remember to bring your balls and your booze because we are on for a good one this week. Hello to Watchtower. Hello to Ring. Hi, hubby. Hi to Linda and Hops. Who else have we got in the chat? Well,
me, obviously.
In the chat. Godless in the chat there, but anyone else, if you're lurking, if you're listening, or if you're listening from the future, you are more than welcome. Hello to you.
Yeah. So, how's your week been then, Hissy?
Not bad.
Yeah.
I'm bright and happy enough this week.
Oh, I'm just, so I said, I put this a bit snarky on Twitter the other day. I put, Donald Trump gets voted out. Dominic Cummings is about to be gone, and the Yorkshire Ripper Peter Sutcliffe is dead. So
yeah,
I feel,
that made my week.
2020 is finally looking up.
Yeah. 2020 is finally turned a corner. So cheers to that.
Yep. So Asterix in Belgium. What do you reckon of this one? I like this one.
I like this one. Before we carry on, though, I've got to say, because I did all the introductions, but this person wasn't there, but they are now. Hi, Amiga Nuts!
Hi, Amiga.
So, yeah. That's all the usuals are here, so now we can go. Right, Asterix in Belgium. I like this one too. This one is very, it's a nice, simple plot. Nothing too taxing. Nothing too problematic, so we're not going to be sat here with dull faces like we've been a couple of times. And it makes for a nice season finale, this, because there's a nice bit of tension in it throughout, which I quite like.
Yeah, we are in a way, in a certain way, a lot of people could argue that this marks kind of the end of what you call the golden era of the Asterix books.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll probably get into why a bit later on, because there's an interesting point in the book as well where we can probably get into that.
Yeah.
So,
so that's the introduction done. So, shall we go?
Yeah, sure. Now, I'll do this a little bit differently this week because for some reason, I say this isn't available on. It is available on Kindle, but not in English. However, Hissy very quickly found a PDF version of this, so
yeah,
you can get hold of it.
You can get hold of it. It's as simple as Googling the title with the word PDF. However, I am not responsible for the legality of any documents you may find. And please be careful about what you download and where from.
Yeah.
Pro tip: if you're going more than 5 hits down on Google, you've done it wrong.
So you may notice as we go through this week that, because this has obviously just been scanned in or whatever from a rather old version of the book by the look of it, older edition, and so like the colours and that, and it's not going to be quite as colourful, should we say, but
as it has been.
Yeah.
But it's got its uses. So
yeah,
here we go. I do like. I don't know when it first happened, but they got into the habit of these very big first panels.
Yeah.
Like overview first panels, and I do have to say it works for these comics because it gives you an immediate context for the entire plot.
Yeah. I can't remember. I mean, it is a feature of the entire series that they do start off with it's a good thing for any comic, in my opinion. It is a good first panel that grabs you straight away. It's a good thing. It's a good practice for comics, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it could be a whole page. Generally with these ones, it's usually about half a page, the first panel.
Yeah.
And
it is good because, as I said, it gives you an immediate, oh, that's what I'm reading today.
Yeah. And the opening little caption here, it's a fine sunny day and life is calm and tranquil as ever in the peace-loving little Gaulish village. And of course, they're all in a punch-up. All the village is in a punch-up, all of them. It looks like it was outside Unhygienics' place again, so you can probably guess what this is about. But
yeah. I will say as well, this sets the tone because this book is very meta.
Yeah.
And I love the little comment from Cacophonix on this bit.
Mm.
In fact, I'm just going to see if it will let me zoom in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we may have some issues zooming in on panels like we normally do today. So just
yeah. So bear with me because this here, which I just absolutely adore, is Cacophonix. Hey, you forgot to untie me after the last banquet.
Yeah, I like. Yeah,
which just I think sums up the entire.
And then Vital Statistics says, when I told them to drop everything, I didn't mean you too, which is shield bearers again.
Shield bearers again. And this, I like that it's got to the point now where it is so established it can make jokes like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get Asterix and Obelix coming back to the village. They've been out, and interesting. They said that apparently some Roman troops are on the move, and Obelix, there's lots of brand new lovely Romans and turning up, and Vital Statistics. That's good. Never really the people of our village are getting bored. A little exercise will do them good. So they
says the guy who gets carried around on a shield everywhere.
Yeah. If you remember an earlier book when he was actually sent away to lose some weight, and he did, and then he sort of shrunk down to about Asterix's size, and then still somehow managed to be back at his normal size by the end of the book.
Yeah. Also, apologies, we are not sponsored by any of the adverts you see here. This is a free PDF reader that I use, Foxit Reader, and it has little adverts. That's how it funds itself. So yeah, just ignore those, please. It's a good reader, but it does have that little advert there.
Yeah. So
okay. So Obelix is starting to become a little bit self-aware here. The Romans are never happy to see us. And of course, that's got to be the setup for this, which I love. A nice little Oklahoma reference for those of us who like our old movies.
Yeah. I like them. I do like the marchings, but the fact that they're kind of singing when Johnny comes marching home again.
Yeah. So that's fun. And they're happy for
when Gaius comes marching home again. Hurrah, hurrah. Yeah. Which is actually, believe it or not, the actual origins of that song is an old song called Johnny I Hardly Knew You, which was kind of an old Irish song with a bit of an anti-war sentiment. Very much an
Johnny I Hardly Knew You is not a pro-war song at all.
Yeah, it's generally often gets quite often associated with the American Civil War, when it was when Johnny comes marching home, and then
it suffers from what I like to call Springsteen syndrome, where the song is anti-war, pro-working class, and is having a dig at the officers as well. And by the end of it, most of the world thinks it's a pro-American, jingoistic little tune.
I got to say, my favourite version is neither of them, though. My favourite version is he stands just over 6'3", Ricky. He took us to the Premier League, Ricky. He gets
Of
the
course
ball
it
and
is.
he takes the piss. He wears the shirt of Matt Lettis, Ricky Lambert, Southampton's goal machine. That's from a few years ago, but
That's taking it back, isn't it?
that's
There you
taking
go,
it back a
folks.
few years.
Dinner and a show if you brought your snacks.
Yeah.
Applause for Scummer and his singing there in the chat.
Yeah, I promise I will not sing anymore. I'll get up like cacophonics if I make a habit of it.
No, you're not as bad as cacophonics. No one winced.
Yeah.
So here we go.
They just notice that they're all looking rather pleased. It's plain in Furies. I shall never be in concord with the Romans.
This is amusing because did you spot it the way it was spelled?
Yeah.
I had to look at this twice. I thought I'd misread it because of my dyslexia. And it is a nice little pun about Concord there, which is sad because Concord's grounded now.
Yeah, well, it's one of those who say engineering triumph, financial kind of disasters, unfortunately, Concord. But
but it's one of those things. It was for people with more money than sense, but what an experience.
Oh yeah, technically the Russians got their version, the Tu-144, into the air first, even though it's kind of looks like they stole the designs to Concorde and just added a couple of things here and there. But but the Russian one that he fed, even the Tu-1, the Tupolev Tu-144 did even worse than Concorde.
So basically what we're saying is screw nuclear weapons. The real Cold War was who got the Concorde in the air first.
Yeah, well, that was the Russians. They got it in the air first.
Yeah, they got that one.
Yeah.
So now they're going back and they're going to tell the chief. They were singing badly, but they were singing. Now, I'm sorry for Asterix and Obelix to say they were singing badly, considering they have to put up with cacophonics on a day-by-day basis.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're getting a lot of applause in the chat, Jeff. Looks like you've got a career as a singer.
Yeah. No, when they're saying I should be a bard, what they mean is I should be bard. Is what they mean.
Don't talk about yourself like that. It's not fair.
Well, Gedifix points out that it's probably bad news for if the Romans are happy. Maybe they've invented a weapon, a secret new weapon, and as Gedifix, as Asterix points out, but we've got a magic potion, so but they did sort of say, he did actually say, Gedifix suggests that you better actually go to the camps and take a closer look what is going on here, because the Romans are generally not happy. The Romans are not happy to be around this village at all, are they? Generally
not. No. I will say this bit with Obelix trying a bit of reverse psychology on the druid there.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. Just gets him an odd, funny look, but.
Yeah.
And we have another musical reference here.
I loved it. Yeah, this is an old I love this. We're going to hang out the washing on the Armorican line. That's that's a reference to an older. That's an old. I think it's a British song. We're going to hang out the washing on the Siegfried line, which I suppose was Germany's kind of equivalent of the Maginot line. It was built as a sort of defensive
it was a
line.
German line of defense, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Insofar as lines of defense existed in the Second World War. So yeah, good bit of fun there. I do like as well. Some of these jokes are very, very. Well, they're a bit amusing, aren't they? We've got it's a Belgian knocking a nail into a stone wall.
Yeah.
There's got to be a fair few World War references in this one, Ring. You are absolutely right. There's also quite a few other references to other wars in this one, which we will see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love this. Shut up about, but we've had quite enough Belgian jokes, and I like this. He says, "Just one more. Do you know how Belgian gets grit out of a Roman eye? and they try to punch him and say, "Oh, so they know that one."
Yeah. Which just brilliant.
Which I guess in a way, this is it might be giving you a bit of an idea of the what they've heard of, what we're about to sort of learn about the Belgians.
So there was a time when the Belgians were a respected military force, apparently.
Yep.
Note I said was.
Mm.
Please, no one who's Belgian attack me in the comments.
Okay, we apparently we went into World War One to defend plucky Belgian neutrality, the same way the Belgians were defending plucky Congolese neutrality. Anyway, enough said.
Enough said. Yeah, let's not get into the debate about imperialism, otherwise you will.
That's a definitely that's a long conversation for another day, I think.
Yeah, that's a rabbit hole.
Mm.
That's a rabbit hole down which he goes and doesn't come back for several hours.
Yeah.
So here we go. The Romans now deciding he's just going to go off for a walk on his own right next to their village.
Yeah.
This is how confident he is.
Yeah.
Even Asterix agrees.
Yeah, and Obelix, they've finally gone crazy. I love this. Let's go question him. And Obelix straight away just starts shaking him down and slapping him. And as Asterix points out, stop out, says, "How do you expect him to answer before we've actually asked him anything?"
I swear, this is where every police procedural from about 1953 to 1997 got its interview techniques from.
Pretty much.
Like, I've seen this scene on the bill, I'm sure I have.
Yeah, more than likely.
So
we're dating ourselves for some of these references here.
Yeah, we are a bit, aren't we? Yes. Amiga has drawn attention to our first. I'm not going to call it a dad joke. I'm going to call it a ring joke. It's definitely a ring joke. It's its own special brand of dad jokes. Let's not have any waffling about the Belgians. Unfortunately, Ring, this entire book is a lot of waffling about the Belgians, so you're just going to have to deal with it. So anyway, off we go. So now they learn that the Belgians are considered the bravest of all the Gaulish people.
Yes.
This is actually a directly pulled from De Bella Gallico, what Caesar's Gallic Wars.
Yes.
So it's amusing because Caesar literally did say this. Which, always fun. So now they're back here for a rest cure. So they're on R&R.
Yeah. And I love this. Vital statistics. A rest cure. They're sending Romans here for a rest cure. And that legionary told us the Belgian about even after Obelix was thumping him. It was lovely,
Oh, did we miss Is it?
No. What you missing?
Hobbs wants to know if
I'm not sure. Let have a little look. Actually, it might very well. It may very well be actually, because there are some tributes to Goscinny in.
I will say though, I'm looking at pictures of Goscinny now, and he looks like
before he died, obviously, yeah.
He's got a bit of a Del Boy look about him if you look at some of the older pictures.
Yeah, he kind of does. I don't think it is. I couldn't say that it is. I could see possibly though.
I can see why you'd think so.
Possibly why you think it may very well. But there certainly will be tributes to, there's certainly going to be a reference to Rene Goscinny in this, because, and we will get to that. We will get to that as we get through this. So.
Yeah, so we've now got, so the Romans are coming for a rescue, and this amuses me. Vital Statistics is worried they're going to turn into a tourist area. Which, what do we know about that area of France in the modern day?
Well, Brittany.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of areas of France you can say that about, to be honest. But I mean, a lot of areas. Yeah, Brittany, I suppose, but. I wouldn't necessarily say that is the main tourist area, especially for British people.
But it is a bit of a, if you want a sort of low-key countryside holiday kind of thing.
Brittany. I've only sort of dipped into Brittany before, but I've mainly gone into like Normandy, but because obviously. Yeah, we got cross-channel ferries not too far away from where I live, and they tend to either go into Cherbourg or Caen, or something like that, or Le Havre or Le Havre, Boulogne.
Yeah. So anyway, and
I like. Yeah, I do. I do.
Ego taking a beating now.
Yeah, this is. I think this is what you're going to see. This is a feature of this story. That a lot of this is. You're going to find out this. A lot of this, to use a crude metaphor, is going to be a dick measuring contest between Vital Statistics and the Belgians. He feels affronted by what Caesar said.
Yeah,
and he's basically he's got a very bruised ego here, and he's got a. And I think it's kind of does kind of go in the way of a bit of a dick measuring contest, really.
Yeah, which we see right here.
And
I do like this comment from the wife here. Pigwiggy, if you want to be coarse, go and be coarse elsewhere.
Yeah, I like that. And he calls the village council meeting.
Yeah. This is a fantastic image. Did anyone else see what I saw for this one?
I see exactly what I know what you're referring to here, actually.
Yeah, like even the way they're positioned,
yeah,
you can't miss it.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing Leonardo da Vinci's.
Yeah, I approve, and I feel like Da Vinci would approve as well.
Yeah.
For those who don't get the reference, it's Da Vinci's Last Supper.
Yeah.
Which amuses me because it puts Obelix in the role of.
Yeah. And Vital Statistics is either John or Mary Magdalene, if you believe Dan Brown novels.
By
the way, you shouldn't, because they're a load of crap.
They're a fun yarn and they're fun to have an amusement. But I will never forget when that book came out, some woman went on ITV morning TV claiming to be like descended.
Yeah.
And like, sweetheart.
The thing is, then I don't know if anyone's read any of that Robert Langdon. I've read a few of them because I wanted to see what the fuck. Yeah, the trouble. I mean, you talk about something that ends up having. Not only is he wrong in so much of his historical facts or whatever, but they get such a formula that you know what's going to happen, and it's after reading a couple of them, and it's so
they're really convoluted. And I will say, please, if you ever create a supercomputer that can like bring down the planet or whatever, don't set the encryption key as the number 3. Like,
yeah.
Ugh.
They're I
just yeah.
well, let's put it this way: if you never read one of the books, go and watch Angels and the film of Angels and Demons, and I'll tell you, it's less far fetched than the book. That's saying something.
Yes, but Angels and Demons was played like it was acted like it was meant to be on stage. It was very overblown.
Yeah.
But it's one of those, you've got to suspend disbelief for those stories. You really do. If you can suspend the disbelief, and if you can allow yourself to be amused rather than annoyed at the historical inaccuracies, they're a good way to spend a couple of hours.
I'm going to quote one of. I know he's not a comedian you like, but I'm going to quote Stuart Lee when there was this incident of in America with these right-wing Christians burning Qurans, and he said, I don't agree with burning Qurans or Bibles or anything like that. It's it's disrespectful, and you shouldn't do it. Is it especially when there are thousands of copies of the Da Vinci Code on bookshelves right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much
that sums it up.
Anyway,
really. We've got off topic.
We've taken a tangent there, didn't we? I think.
Yeah.
So I heard this that Obelix is wondering where the Boars are. And Vital Statistics wants to go and find out what's so special about the Belgians. And then we'll show them we're the bravest, and Caesar too. And I like this. He said if the Belgians are brave, good for them. Too bad for Caesar. We'd do better to mind our own business. And I love that. I love
the hand gesture.
Yeah.
The hand gestures make this for anyone who's ever sat in on a meeting of like vaguely pompous politicians.
Yeah. And I love pretty much everyone's kind of agreeing with Gedifix here. Obelix is like, just like, okay, we're done now. Can we tie up the bar and start bring on the boar? And and Vital Statistics is still like, if that's all you offer, I'm going to go off and face the belt. I'm going off to meet the Belgians by myself. So he is just, as I said, he's got damaged ego here.
Little bit, yeah.
Gedifix obviously says you to Asterix and Obelix, think you better go with him.
I do like his preparations to leave here. He's like little what's that book about the lad who basically walks to London with a stick and
Dick Whittington?
That's the one. He's a little bit of a Dick Whittington comment there, I think.
Yeah.
Which is actually whoops. Sorry. It's better. Sorry, folks. His mouse got stuck.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to comment on this.
Go on.
Does anyone recognise this?
Let's have a look.
It's a far better thing I do now than I've ever done before.
That sounds very familiar. Yeah.
It should do. It's the final words of A Tale of Two Cities.
Yeah.
Which fits nicely in with the whole Dick Whittington theme. So I just wanted to point that out because literature nerd. I do like as well how he's, I'm going to go. And the wife's just like, that's nice, dear. And just dark cloud over him as he mumbles off. Literally a dark cloud over him.
So he goes a little way, and of course Asterix and Obelix are following up with behind him. He tells him to go back.
I'd like to point out the silhouette in the background of this panel.
The dolmen.
Yeah. Because it's just fun. I like.
Yeah.
And it's those little amusing things that, yeah.
And I said, and he said, no, the droid says we got to come with you. This story might come to a sticky end. If it came to a sticky end, we might be stuck for Boars at the banquet by the end of the story.
So, as I said, very meta, this book.
Yeah.
And it does that. This is the I think this is the only one that really is very this meta, which is, you know, a bit. I feel like it's deliberate, given what happened with it. So, yeah, and then we're at the border.
I loved it. I love this thing with the two border guards. You got Belgium on one side, America on the other here. And I love the guy on the Belgian side who's been beaten up and he's got a broken peeler and whatever. You got a cushy number. I'm not responsible for the posting. It's the luck of the draw. The luck of the draw.
Your uncle is the senator.
Yeah.
And everyone, anyone else got CCI just blaring in your head right now?
Yeah, I love it. The whole okay, we're all equal in the army. I demand an apology. Why don't you do your job instead of talking about you got visitors of that halt, you shall not pass. Why not? Because there's a war in Belgium in the front. Bang. Obelix says. And I love the other guy on the Belgian side. Please accept my apologies. You were quite right. We're all equal in the army.
Yeah. Which is just fantastic.
Yeah. And these
Asterix and Obelix, they amuse me with the way they do this. Because again, they're kind of taking the mickey out of their own formula.
Yeah.
As Ring says, the good thing about being formulaic is being able to make fun of the formula. And they're going to sulk, which they always do on a journey. And of course, it's impossible to sulk while watching those two sulk. Noses in the air. Even Dogmatic's joining in, look.
Yeah, I know. He's almost, but he almost looks like he's supposed to be sulking, but he looks like he's posing for like Crufts or something. So
he's an ickle diva puppy. So he's giggling away now.
Yeah.
And they just you can hear the tone. Asterix says this in. See, he can still laugh. I was beginning to wonder. It's that tone, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like this comment here as well. When they tried to tell us that pedestrians weren't allowed on the chariot way, it'll take them centuries to think up a daft idea like that one again. How hard did you hit them, Obelix?
Yeah.
And then he's giggling away, and they're friends again as usual.
And then they sort of got this, so it's not disturbing you, are we? And we're going to meet the Belgians.
Meet the Belgians, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just amused.
I gotta say, I do kind of like the Belgians in this. I like
they fun.
They do seem like quite good-hearted, I mean, in a lot of ways, this is the thing. They're a lot like the sort of ghouls in the village in this. They're like a bit of fun, like a bit of fun fight, a bit of food. They're quite happy.
Yeah, and I think this one is really holding up a mirror to our friends from our little village.
Yeah. I mean, not too much, but not to the point where they've all got like a doppelganger each, but but it is holding up a little bit of a mirror to them. And you're from they introduce themselves like vital statistics. I'm a veteran of Jagovia from Morica and you know, are you Belgians? I love this. That's right. You're likely to meet Belgians in Belgium.
Especially after the comment of, I thought they were Americans from their Americanisms.
And I like that they go into all the tribes they're divided into amongst themselves. We're all Belgians, you know.
Yeah.
Which is a similar thing to the Gauls, you know. And the Britons at the time, they were all, you know, all divided into their own little tribes and whatever. They, you know.
Yeah. In later European history, before the unification of Italy, before the unification of Germany, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Countries form when tribes form alliances. That's how that works. So 3 weeks beneath the conqueror's yoke, and they decided they weren't having it.
Yeah. We'll be on our way. There's a Roman camp to be raised to the ground before dinner. And I love this vital statistics. Can we come with you? I love this. I want to come and watch. You need some lessons. I love this.
We don't need lessons.
All right. But you mustn't get in our way, and you and your men must stay at the back where it isn't dangerous. So
you
they
just
got
sit down there with the crayons and safety scissors, dear.
It's
that's
like
yeah,
leave it to the real men here, you know. And I love that man's getting down. He's being so patronized, you know. And there we go, Roman camp.
So again, fairly similar to what we're used to seeing.
Yeah. I love this. Let's see what their strategy's like. And it's just like, get them! I love Obelix. Not bad strategy, that.
Rather crude, but does the job.
For Asterix, but effective. And they go on it and they've destroyed this Roman camp.
Yeah.
So, do you enjoy that? I love that. Do you enjoy it?
Actually, that was just to annoy them a bit. I do like this. We let the garrison go free so they can tell their friends and it won't do the morale a bit of good. So they do actually appreciate the importance of propaganda, which is a nice little smirk at the Gallic Wars, which anyone who's ever even read it in depth is aware that Caesar, for all his ability to write, questionable, and his willingness to put everything down. Oh, Jeff's gone. Was not the most reliable of narrators, and if you ever read the Gallic Wars, you do have to keep that in mind. Caesar's writing his own history here, and it's done very deliberately. Oh, Scummer's internet just died. I don't think it liked me starting on about the Gallic Wars. He's back.
Right.
Yay!
Okay. Just warning. I'm going to be having some internet issues. I don't know. Hopefully there won't be too many little glitches like that.
Well, we did promise the audience a nail biter, so. I like this. Yes, Ring, that's exactly how the stories of the Dread Pirate Robert spread. Leave one survivor.
Okay. Yeah, it's I could have some little issues in and out with internet here. So
okay. Well, I'm sure I'll be able to keep nattering away if you drop out again. So here we go. And now Vital Statistics decides he's going to wind up the other chief by telling him, not bad, we could do better. And here we go. What was it you called it, Jeff? A pissing contest? And then So Obelix thinks they're being hospitable and they're, just sharing the Romans because it's Obelix, and of course he does. Why are you in my stream twice?
I shouldn't be.
You are.
I shouldn't be because it shouldn't be at all because I had that closed. Okay. I don't know I'm having some internet issues. It keeps coming to cut in and out at the moment. So just keep going. If at least you can this week because you're the one sharing it. If I keep having them anymore.
Cool. So yeah, Obelix thinks they're being hospitable, and of course they're walking straight into a trap. But it's not a trap when you have magic potion.
Yeah. I love that. Not very big. Got anything better? And I love that. All there is in stock at the moment. Best we can do. We can post it. Well, all joking a lot. Like leave off. You can leave off boasting. I don't need to put your back up if you don't.
Giving value for money.
3
men and a little dog at the gates. Legionary Pseudominus. That rings a bell. Wasn't that from Asterix the Legionary? I'm sure he was.
Yeah, I think there's some callbacks here, definitely. With sorry, I've just had to refresh the thing I'm reading because of the internet issue. So we get back up to where we are. Oh, I've gone past it now. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think that's where I'm up to. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So there we go. Out goes the Legionary. Halt, what do you want? We want to come in.
Bang. So, and so that there go the Asterix Obelix in there. And Dogmatix gets his traditional biting of the Centurion's backside in.
Yeah, of course. Their legionaries are just like ours, which is, nifty.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's over. So already, we've only just begun. They got.
Have they gone? Shh, keep still. Play dead.
And I love to say, I can't wait to see those Belgians' faces. And I love this. They get back to this. Not bad, quite amusing. And they're right with there. What do you mean?
Quite amusing.
I said, but we smashed up the whole place. He says, I was like, no, don't fly off the handle. Yes, you smashed up the whole place, but it was plain sailing. The camp was only made of wood and canvas. You got under their guardrail quite easily. This poor legionary stuck in the middle here.
Yeah. And I love how he's just like, there are only 3 of them.
Yeah. Plain sailing under canvas, eh? Right, show us a stone camp and we'll canvas your opinion.
Lots of puns.
This is you can see, and this is where you were getting to here. His vital statistics is losing his blooming temper here because like I said, but effectively the Belgian's still keeping his cool with him at the moment. He says, I'm only having you on. You and your men put on a really good show, or just
Yeah.
So,
and then we get these names, which there's too many X's in that. You can pronounce them, Jeff.
Oh, what have we got? We've got Bfix, the leader. We got Brainwax, Melancholic, Alcoholics,
Portbelix.
Yeah.
And then we've got Cody, Pseudonymous, First Legion, Third Cohort, Second Maniple, First Century.
Yeah.
This is very we've seen this one before. This is a fairly common joke that's done. It's if anyone remembers Shrek, where Shrek, donkey, Shrek, and then donkey. Yeah, it's that.
Yep.
Which is fun.
So So they're getting invited back with the Belgians here. So I'm just realising we're just trying to get it along a little bit here. Seeing I'm conscious of time because
Yeah. So then there's a bit of confusion about how the Belgians eat their dinner and their lunch. Which I think is the same confusion Northerners and Southerners have in the UK.
Yep. It's kind of almost got that feel to it a little bit, hasn't it? You know.
Yeah.
But,
so here we go, and he tells them no fancy lutetia cooking here, only roast boar of old Belgium, and Obelix is perfectly happy with that. This is just fantastic.
Where are we now? Okay, yeah.
Not much in the way of landscape features here.
Yeah. Feels like they've almost dipped into Holland, really, doesn't it? You know?
Yeah, a little bit. No further comment here. I was half expecting a windmill.
Yeah. Belgium's. I've never been to Belgium. I'm assuming it's rather similar to the Netherlands. So.
Yeah, I imagine so. And then, so the wives are going to come out now, burnish up your brass, put on your best bibs and tuckers. So they're putting on a party. This is a nice welcome.
Yeah.
So rail home from home, complete with real Romans from Rome. That sounds like a tourist.
Yeah.
Tagline.
Now, I did read somewhere that this the chieftain's wife here was actually a caricature of a Belgian actress called Annie Cordy. I've got to be honest, I don't know. I couldn't really tell you anything she's been in.
Let me have a quick look.
I did see that she died earlier this year, but
right. Oh, that face is familiar. She's let's see, Annie Cordy, IMDb. Obviously they're all going to be European, so
yeah.
She's doing a fair bit of work. She was in let's see if there's any that jump out at me that I recognise. Mostly a TV star by the looks of her IMDb.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, probably not very well. Probably someone who's very well known in France and Belgium, but not.
Yeah, not very.
When I was making notes. Yeah, when I was making notes for this, it kind of came across that.
Yeah, we've got she was the voice of Nanaka in the French dubbed version of Brother Bear. I will say very prolific and a fairly consistent career throughout from like 1953 onwards. Easily at least 1 or 2 appearances a year on various things on TV or film. So the face looks familiar, but I couldn't tell you any more about her.
But and I love this whole thing with the banquet here. Nothing lavish. Asterix is like.
And Obelix is ready to dive right in.
Obelix is. I love this.
Answer is amusing.
Yeah. I love seeing. It's pleasure seeing someone who doesn't just pick at his food. Obelix.
Yeah. And then obviously we've got our little tiff between the chiefs here.
Yeah.
There's enough ox tongue for everyone. Little tongue-in-cheek gag there.
I love the. So I love it when he actually asked vital statistics. So why did you really come and visit? So vital statistics is only because of some silly remark Julius Caesar made. He'll have to have his tongue in cheek too. You know, what's that? Apparently he said that you were the bravest of all the Gaulish peoples. ridiculous. And now he's offended about, what do you mean ridiculous? Because we're quite as brave as you, if not more so. And it's like, here we go. And here we go now. Dick measuring contest between the two chieftains here.
And Asterix trying to calm it down. Like, come along now, be reasonable. We're all the bravest, and that's that. And who's going to judge the competition? Like Julius Caesar doesn't have better things to do.
And it's like, basically we're gonna have to see who's the bravest. We're gonna get Julius Caesar to judge this, and women bring out supper as well, which is another whole roast pig there.
And then that night, Obelix sleeping soundly, and Asterix up worrying.
Yeah.
At breakfast again. These people eat well.
Yeah, they're doing well for themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm guessing this must be a French stereotype of the Belgians here play here a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I've got notes here that says the Belgians are famous for their food.
Okay.
So that makes sense. So the idea is now they're going to attack all the local Gaulish, all the Roman camps, and identify themselves, so the Romans know who's done what. So they're being honest. They use the magic potion, but it's all right. The Belgians use the beer. I do like this comment of our beer is strong enough for us from the Belgians.
Yeah. Belgium makes some nice beers. I will say that.
Yeah.
Belgium do make some nice beers.
Yeah, they do. And they do have the reputation of being somewhere around 4%, don't they? A little bit stronger than average.
Yeah. Now, I mean, like Stella's just under 5%. That which is the most famous one, but
Stella's somewhere about, I think it's 4.8, isn't it, or something?
Something like that, yeah. But we've got in Southampton. There's actually a bar that is dedicated to just stocked with Belgian beers.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, most European lagers that I've come across are more than 4%, whereas sort of lagers you tend to find in Britain closer to 4%.
Yeah,
which is why it made me laugh when Stella released Stella 4%.
Yeah,
I want a weaker beer.
That's the same with Beck's Veer as well, which is disgusting. I mean, I don't mind normal Beck's, but Beck's Veer is disgusting.
Yeah. Considering with such a reputation for it in the UK for drinking it, we don't make good beer in this country. We're very good at ales.
I know, good at ale. We make some good beers. No, we don't mind some good. We can make some good beers. It's just
we can, but I think
what we generally can get in most bars and most supermarkets though is pretty naff.
Dire. Yeah.
So
now, if you want a good cider or a good local ale, pretty much you're sorted in the UK. And as Ring put it, yes, we do have to say, because Jen isn't here to tell us for us, Foster's, Australian for piss.
Yes.
Definitely. I don't know why the Australians... The only reason I can think for the Australians sending it to the rest of the world is because they didn't want it.
Amiga's back from having his waffles as well, so...
Oh, Amiga's back from his waffles. Brill. So here we go. And they're going to send out 6 men on patrol.
Well, they want a punch up, close the gates. And I love the fact that we get these curtains across there. Let us cast a modest veil over this deplorable and most unusual scene of violence.
Yeah.
And it's so we must tell them who attacked them, and Caesar won't be at it. Otherwise, Caesar won't be able to kick. We're up for our more, and I love this. Pleased to meet you.
So here we go, and then what's the oil for? Then let's find out what's the oil for, which they've been heating up. The Belgians seem to have a chip on his shoulder. Now he's a mere vegetable, rooted to the spot.
Yeah.
I must have an idea. I have an idea and must suggest it to Bonanza. Keep that in mind. That's an amusing little tidbit later.
Yeah.
And they're telling the Romans which one's Belgium, which one's the Romans. Okay, warding folks, pirates.
Yeah. Okay, this might be a little. We could try and get through these as quick as possible, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
so I think this one, it's worth if we can look at the speech marks to do so, because there's some nice little jokes in here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So do we really think it's so close to sail so near the wind? We're rather close to the shore. There's a war on, and the pirates are peaceful neutrals.
Yes.
But then back on land, they're going to crush these Gauls with a catapult.
They got a catapult, and
except Obelix is quite a good catch.
Caught it, threw it back at him, but I think he misjudged his throw.
Yeah.
He threw it over the camp.
Over the camp, straight out to sea. And the pirates have got their sinking feeling. And I am going to try and scroll past this entire thing. Yeah. Okay, because we know what the visual was there.
There's one on the just below that as well, Hissy.
Yeah. Just below here, yeah. So off they go. They're still holding this.
Yeah, there's a couple on this page.
They are neutral. What I'm going to do then, if there's a couple on this page, just while I scroll down and get past them.
So I tried to get a little bit ahead of you there, just to see how.
Yeah, I think we're okay after I've had a hard day's fight, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, we're okay for. I know they come up a bit again later in the book, but if we get past that panel, we can start showing it again.
Yeah.
Well, they destroyed all the camps. I doubt whether the Belgians have done it as well as us boys. They'll have to admit that we're the bravest, and without Caesar even ruling on it.
Yeah.
And they come back. There we are. This minute back, we've destroyed all the camps on our side of the village. Like, you two, it's a draw. I love this. We'll have to have a replay.
I mean,
it's like a cup. It's like a bloody cup tie, isn't it?
It is. It's a bit of a cup final going on here. I think what amuses me though, 3 goals versus how many Belgians?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, let's be fair. I mean, we saw what Obelix single-handedly could do to an entire Roman garrison last week. So.
Yeah. And then we have the Belgian chief brings his idea back to his wife. Did you ever think of putting roots into chips and frying them? Again.
Yeah.
Belgian food.
Yeah, which a lot. Yeah, I mean, generally, I think there's always been some dispute about where fries originated from, whether it's from France or Belgium. There's always been a bit of a dispute about that. But I will say that I never actually been to Belgium and had them, but certainly the fries you can get in Holland, the Flemish fries, are nice. They're gorgeous. Not good for you, but they're nice.
When you're eating something like fries, I don't think you're counting the calories, are you? Let's be honest.
No.
Well, so meanwhile,
the Flemish fries, they're like a cross between what we think of like French fries, but not nice and thick like sort of British chips are. So they're just really nice.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh,
So meanwhile, at the
I'm getting
Roman headquarters
hungry
of
reading
Belgium,
this. Yeah.
there has been a renewed outbreak of fighting.
Yeah, got some were
And
attacked by Armoricans, some attacked by Belgians.
and he's going to go off, and in Rome, the Senate is sitting.
Yes.
Senator Monotonous.
Monotonous, yeah.
He wants the senator has arrived. Show him in. No, you don't. The rules forbid anyone to interrupt the speaker. Yes, do show him in. And this was a thing, like Caesar bleeding Rome with his campaigns. This was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was. Caesar did not waste. Well, he
Caesar
didn't
was,
spare any expense.
Caesar wasn't, Caesar was not, he might have been popular with people, he was not, it was obvious he was not popular with the Senate. I mean, look what happened to him eventually, but,
Yeah. But the thing is, he was popular with the people for the same reason, popular politicians who win wars and keep taxes low are popular.
yeah.
Because that's exactly what he did. He kept the people fed, he kept wars on so they had employment, and everything went on swimmingly, essentially.
Yeah.
The Senate didn't like him because he was low-born, or a man of the people.
Mm.
And if there's one thing Roman senators didn't like, it was men of the people.
Yes.
And there is an argument to say that Caesar was not all just talk, that he did in his own way care about the people. He did a lot of work on sort of infrastructure in and around Rome and looking after everyone. He's an interesting character because he's quite clearly more interested in his quote unquote foreign policy, which is his wars, but he's not a bad domestic politician either.
Yeah.
His only problem is it's a bit like, do you know what it is? It's if you had Jeremy Corbyn as PM, but you still had the rest of the Tories as cabinet.
It's about right.
Or, if you had Jeremy Corbyn as PM and you had Labour cabinet.
Yeah.
It's kind of that what's going on.
Yeah, well, it's quite, well, especially with knives in backs at the moment. Yes.
Yeah, knives in backs for front and centre.
Yeah, what they've done to him. So.
Yeah. Oh, pro tip: throughout history, it's true. If the upper classes don't like a politician, that usually means that he's doing something for the little guy.
Yeah.
Unless he's like a complete and utter.
Yeah.
That link. So I do like this. Oh, stuff you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Delete that last. It wouldn't go down too well as a classical quotation.
I like that. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I love it. Delete that for the minutes.
Yeah. That shall be struck from the record.
This
like whole thing just gives me.
It reminds me of the yes Prime Minister thing I saw the other day about the minutes of the the minutes of the meeting or whatever.
Oh yeah, the minutes.
There's when Bernard saying, "Well, yeah, but I want to."
Minutes, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen, but I want to have a clear conscience. Bernard, when did you acquire this taste for luxuries?
Yeah.
He said, "So
you can
what?
Be a
so
civil
what?"
servant, or you can have a conscience.
Like that. Yeah. Also, so he said, "Well, did he? Did the Prime Minister accept there was no legal grounds for this?" He said, "Yeah, well, he did, but he says, but the Prime Minister accepted there were no legal grounds for this. Write that in the minutes." So, oh yeah, it says, "How's your conscience, Bernard? Better, thank you."
Thank you. Thank you, Humphrey.
Yeah. It's very
pick your words carefully.
Yeah. But that is what it is in effect though. When you do minute and meeting, you're not writing down word for word every single thing that was said. it is more about, it's a rough record of what's been said and what actions are going to be taken upon.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be.
You're not going to write. You're not necessarily going to write down every single word that was said in a debate. But you are going to get the outline. You know.
Yeah, the idea of taking minutes is that it's a summary. If you want something word for word, what you're looking for is a transcript.
Yep.
So here we go. Caesar arguing that the Gauls are brave, but will beat them in the end. You know, the Senate's now stirring things up, claiming Caesar's losing control.
Yeah, I love that. It's just what comes with famous campaign. He can't even control a few barbarians, and then the Belgians are not barbarians; they're the bravest of all the Gaulish peoples. But we shall conquer them in the end, the way we conquered the rest of Gaul, which is now living peacefully under Roman rule.
Yeah,
I love that. It's just Belgians have allies, savage hordes pouring in out of our Morica to lend them.
Yeah,
and
of
it's
course, we have "I shall go, I shall see, and I shall conquer." The future tense of "veni vidi vici."
Yeah.
Or "when we do vici." Wiki. Trying to remember my Latin pronunciation, and that didn't go well.
I love now back here in Belgium, their vital statistics still you know, about
so they're waiting for Caesar to arrive to make the decision on this. And Asterix just wants to go home and pick mushrooms and truffles.
Yeah, vital statistics is still very pissy here. He's not in a good mood. Well, I love that. It's not our fault if Caesar has more things to do than bother about you, is it? I love that. It shows he knows nothing about military standards.
Don't say that to his face, mate.
Yeah.
And here we go, shouting again.
Mm-hmm. And we get a little message from a couple of people that Julius Caesar has just arrived in Belgium. Right, but you got to that bit, Hissy. These two, this is the characters of Thompson and Thompson, who were two detectives from the Tintin comics.
Yeah.
And they characteristically, mispronounced the name of Julius Caesar. It's you notice it's sort of done in a different style of font as well, like their speech
style, isn't it? They've got a very. I feel like they're very good moaning.
Well, it's like they can't pronounce Belgium. It's like it's you know they just seem to be having a bit of a
So a little bit of an hello throwback to anyone there as well.
Yeah, but obviously this is the Tintin. Last week we had a good little Laurel and Hardy visual, which was quite funny. But thought so.
Obelix is about this image is just adorable. Just a puppy.
Yeah. He's put on a little weight, isn't it? Dogmatics has put on a wee bit of weight since he's been in Belgium.
Bit of weight. He's got a belly.
Yeah.
So, and I do like this. She was going to make a special soup called waterzuri.
With cream in it.
With cream in it, which I think is is actually a Belgian recipe. It's basically eel in cream sauce, apparently.
Mm-hmm. And then we're like, now, we get to this bit here, and he's a packed lunch. I want to point something out at this point, though.
Are you going to point out the meeting with Caesar?
No. I'm going to point out what's happening here. We get to these panels. Now, we notice it starts to rain. And it's very gloomy and overcast. There's a meaning behind this.
Yes.
This is the point during the story when one of the co-creators of Asterix, René Goscinny, died at this point in the story. So basically, Uderzo's kind of finishing the book, I suppose, or this is the point that the book was in production when Goscinny died. So Uderzo, so we have this few pages of rain, but generally, like the skies and that, they're all grey and overcast as a result of this.
It's a little sort of inside.
It's an inside thing that because this story came out, I think, a couple of years after his death, but it was obviously put on hold because of that. It was in November 1977 was when Goscinny died. So they were in the process of writing this one. And he had a heart attack. He had a heart attack in.
And I think then what we're saying is that the last panel was this one, which is the reference to Waterloo. Meeting with Caesar on the playing fields when we've eaten. So reference to a quote from Wellington. The Battle of Waterloo was won on the playing fields of Eton, as in the school.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a pun there, but then obviously, so that's essentially the line, isn't it, between where things were. So it's a little tribute, fitting little tribute, and that's why we sort of waited to this point to explain that. So
yeah, I think that was a I mean that was a famous Waterloo quote. That one.
Yeah.
But they've
So anyway, off they go in the rain with a packed lunch. And I mean, look at the size on that packed lunch. This is important because we've only just started, but we've finished our packed lunch. They remind me of hobbits in this bit. A little bit hobbity in this bit.
Yeah.
So Asterix decides they need a white flag.
Yes, they go to. So I love he meets the little boy here, who I did see somewhere in my notes that there was some significance to the way this boy had been drawn or something. It was supposed to represent something.
Yes, this is. This is. Is anyone aware of the mannequin piss famous fountain?
Of course, yes.
The little boy who extinguished a bomb under Brussels walls by urinating on the fuse.
Yes, there's a statue of it. So the boy's supposed to be a little kind of a caricature of that, I suppose. But
yeah, bit of a running gag.
And I like the fact we got no city, just a little economic community. Come with me.
Yeah, nice little reference to the EEC there.
Yeah. Of course, they would have been starting to be based in Brussels about this time.
Yeah. And so they're asking, this is Botanix, who's just digging a few vegetables for the common market, but come in, his wife will serve supper and you can tell him about it. Cauliflower serving Brussels. Many Brussels jokes here. Lots of Brussels sprouts. The local brassica, they sprout all over the place.
So Hissy, keep going. I'm going to be back in like about a minute.
And we're looking for cool. And we're looking for something to use as a white flag. Sorry, don't have any white flags here. No comment. But she does have a lace, and this lace is very pretty. It looks like it's crocheted, or it's designed to look like it's crocheted. And Belgium is famous for its lace. Still is for the tourists. It's one of those things where that's the nice little reference to local economy there. And now off they go with the flag, urgent business. And the little boy must leave the room. Urgent business. And it does enough. Obviously, the fountain of the little boy runs constantly. So this one is saying he has to leave the room so often. I think he's drinking the beer on the sly. Well, he's doing something to keep it flowing, isn't he? So later outside Caesar's camp, again, usual camps, that kind of thing. And they're bearing something with a vague resemblance to a flag of truce. And see if they're really carrying a flag. Caesar wants to know. And this, Caesar sends them out and says, "Since when has a Roman legionary known fear?" Well, personally, since about 3 months ago when I arrived in Belgium. Just a nice, amusing little side. And I am going to have a look here because this legionary says, "I hear and obey, but," and Moturus T Saluto. Those who are aware, this quote is a reference to "I who am about to die salute you." This is not what you think it is. There is a historical hissy fit in this. Hang on. So there is this famous thing of gladiators in the Colosseum, those who are about to die salute you. If you've ever seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. There's not that much evidence for that. There's one text from the time that mentions it once. There's debate on whether it ever actually happened or not within the academic circles. It's very up in the air. It's a nice little, the lack of evidence for it is problematic, but it's a compelling little story, and people like to believe compelling little stories. It's the same reason we like to believe that the Spartans were so witty. How much evidence there is for it is debatable. So that's my little comment on that. And off we go. A few moments later, and as usual, bish bash bosh. Why did you do that? We're carrying a flag of truce. And I love this. Well, that's not a real flag. It's riddled with holes. Hey, Jeff. So yeah, we
sorry,
just,
I had to step away from that.
I just had a little bit of a hissy fit about the prevalence of gladiators saluting the emperor because
not the old
for
those who are about to die, we salute you thing again. Yeah, I see. This I noticed. You've probably been through this, but yeah, I think it may have happened once with Claudius, but
there's like one textual reference to it.
It's not something that was said every time in the Colosseum. I mean, if that source is to be believed, that it was never said in the Colosseum because the Colosseum wasn't built in Claudius's time anyway. So
exactly, it's never said in the Colosseum, so far as we know. And Robert X is right. Even there's a lot of stories around the Colosseum and around the games that have a mythology of their own. The emperor didn't stick his thumb up and down.
I've even heard. Now I haven't managed to verify this, that the amount of, like, should we say, Christian perps being put to death in the Colosseum has been grossly exaggerated, if they ever were at all. I did hear that generally generally I've heard that tended to happen in the Circus Maximus, if anywhere.
Okay, folks, Tacitus is not a reliable historical source on the persecutions of Christians after the Great Fire. He would have been about 7 years old. He would not have had a clue what was going on, if he remembered it at all, by the time he was an adult and writing this text in his 40s. That was your hissy fit.
There you go.
Version. So yeah, there's a lot of stories around the Colosseum. There's a mythos about it. I mean, the damn thing's huge. I'd make up a story about it too. It doesn't need it, but you would, wouldn't you? And it is. If you ever get the opportunity, do go see it in the dark at night, because they've lit it all up now, so the arches are all lit up. And if you ever get a chance, you want to stand about, if you stand right in front of it and you see the big statue, stand sort of halfway between the grass square, the Arch of Titus, and the Colosseum, and look up at the Colosseum. If you get the angle right, you'll feel like the Colosseum's about to fall on you.
By the way, Stella Artois.
Cheers. Well, yep. So the Colosseum's well worth a look. It really is. The only thing is,
I've never actually been in there. I've been around it. I've been to sort of outside of it. I've never actually got the chance to go in. But,
the thing is, a lot of the gladiatorial. The one thing that made me realize immediately that a lot of the stories we have about gladiatorial games have to be, at the very least, shall we say, questionable, is the fact that when you're actually on the floor where the gladiatorial games would have been and you're looking up, the damn thing's huge. You're tiny. You're a speck. But looking up from the seats down at the ground, they would have seen very little. You know, and a lot of it would have been, I can see why they would have had the equivalent of a sports commentator. And yeah, so, and I got closer than any Roman woman would have ever gotten to seeing what the action would have looked like. Because of course women and slaves were up at the back in the cheap seats.
That's one thing that's certainly one thing that the richer you are, the better the seats you got, and
there is if you go to the Colosseum now, right by the Emperor's box, right in front of the Emperor's box, if you look at it, have a look up and you will see, I think it's made of brass, it might be copper or some sort of dark metal. There's a cross up there, and that was placed by, I want to say, John Paul II. For reasons, but that will trigger me to have another hissy fit.
Right. Okay.
So let's not.
In that case, I think we probably should get back to the story.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
I love this. They come in here. They're like, I told you there were savages here. You know. That's your flag of truce. I've never seen anything like that, but not in Belgium. Well, I said we're not from Belgium. We're from Armorica. So it's all true. All the Gauls are revolted. All the Gauls. No, just one small little village still holding out against. But your chief surrendered. It's treason. You're living as a spare expensive. No, we've been living off. We've been living off the Belgians, and they're fat of the land.
I'm just well covered.
Yeah.
We've had a competition. We'd like you to be adjudicator.
Yeah, competition. Caesar's not happy. He says, it's like this. One day you said the Belgians were the bravest of all the Gaulish peoples. Just one of those silly remarks one makes without thinking. Only it rather annoyed our chief, so we've had a Roman thumping competition, and we want to find out who was the bravest. I love this. And to settle the matter for good, we want you to come and tell us that we're all equally brave, and then we can go home. Says, how would this suit your meeting place? And you know where he's pointing to on the map there. But but Jupiter, go out, you take me, and I shall annihilate you at that meeting place with all my legions, and I shall crush and annihilate, or disembowel you, or massacre you. You know, he's going off and on. You know, and you will find who the bravest of all is, none other than Caesar himself. And I love that. No, sorry, the Obelix says the adjudicator isn't allowed to compete too. That would be that wouldn't be fair.
Yeah.
Caesar,
get out of this. I'm sorry, I just read that in Peggy Mitchell's voice.
Right.
For anyone who's British and has ever seen an older episode of EastEnders, that's the voice I read that in. You can sort of get out of that pub.
Oh, okay. Oh no, you. Oh, so it's all right. You are okay on the next page.
Yeah.
Yeah. someone else wants to see them. Someone
pirate.
else. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what this board is? No, but I dare say you'll tell me.
Right.
This is fantastic.
I love this. I'm an honest, hard-working neutral pirate, and I.
Do you know what you could do with that board of yours?
Yeah.
They told me his standards of classical quotation was dropping.
Yeah.
So that's fun. So his sentences for open war. Well, he can have it. We'll be there.
Yeah. This is our affair.
So
but
now,
all right, we don't intrude. We know how to be tactful.
A nice little joke about French diplomats there.
Yes.
Preparations for the great battle begin.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's has been joined during your court. Okay, so again, fairly good strategy. Once the battle has begun, you bring in an extra cohort to the rear of the enemy. The Imperial Guard will take part as a last resort. We shall open fire with catapults. The die is cast. Yeah.
And I love that. As for you, I'll see you in my office after the battle.
Because I'm the only one who makes the classical comments around here.
The classical, yeah.
Okay.
So they send.
This is a nice little. That's I can't pronounce his name, but I did find it written down. He's a famous Belgian cyclist, Eddie Merckx. MERCK.
Eddie Merckx, I think. Yeah, I think is how it's pronounced.
And he won the Tour de France 5 times between 1969 and 74. He won the Tour de France 5 times in a row.
Yeah. It's only a few people have done that. I mean, it's him, Miguel Indurain, I think, did it, and Armstrong, of course, before he got stripped of all of his titles, sir.
Yeah. In the famous yellow jersey.
And now, and now you go. I love that. Did you try that idea of mine about making a fried chipped roots? No, instead I made of cooking the last meal. I wanted my sports, so watery stuff for men. So it was, men who want Caesar to meet his Waterloo.
Yeah.
And
right, this paddle is an art reference. And again, it's another name I'm going to struggle to pronounce because I think it's French. Ernest Messonnier, showing Napoleon campaigning in France. The painting it's based off is sometimes called Retreat from Moscow. So you might know it as that, but that is not its name.
Yeah.
So that is
okay.
That's a nice little artistic nod there. And then off we go.
Yeah, that Watch pointed out Jackie Hicks is a famous race driver who won Le Mans as well. So that similar name,
yeah.
but not.
And we do have the comment of what sort of provisions are there in the baggage train? Beer and sandwiches, because as we know, an army marches on its stomach.
What's the filling in the sandwiches? Whole cold roast oxen. Big sandwiches.
Yeah.
Troops lined up.
Position, catapults lined up. And this again as well. Where is it? Let me find it. That heavy sound breaks in once more. You find it, but hark. That heavy sound breaks in once more. It's the catapult's opening roar.
Yeah.
Whoops. That is Byron.
Yeah. There's an awful lot of like poetry sort of references in this. I mean, so many. Some of them I missed, but.
So there's quite a few going on. I try and point them out where I can, but honestly, I'm not a great Byron fan, so I'm not as well read on him as I should be.
Interesting figure. If you've, yeah.
Yeah. What sort of bing bong balls were those?
And pouring forward, we're not, impetuous dead. And
again, it's all. I suspect that's probably from the same Byron, and it's a continuation.
I like that. So, you see this now. I kind of, considering some of the things Uderzo's drawn in this book, I kind of find this. They've checked us out only because we're foreigners, aren't we? We don't have any right to our own bit of fun. Talk about xenophobia.
Oh, calm down. Yeah.
Yeah, but considering some of the things Uderzo's drawn in these books and jokes he's made on between pair of them, it's okay. You may not want.
Yeah.
To be fair though, that's the English translation of this, not necessarily what they wrote. So
yeah. So again, pinch of salt, folks. If anyone knows what it was in the original, do let us know. And they're off.
They're they're gonna get involved anyway here. Meet them in that little wood over there.
Yeah.
So look, there's a vast horde of Belgium and a packet, and I love this. Come back, we outnumber. They're all the Romans run it. Come back, we outnumber them. And then the next panel, come back, they outnumber me.
Yeah. I will say as well, this trap in the woods. There's a couple of famous historical examples this could be a reference to be fair. Being led into sort of a wooded area and then surrounded by the enemy.
The Chutterborg Forest in 9 AD is the one that immediately springs to mind. What the Germanic tribes did to the Romans.
Yeah, that's the famous one. But it's one of those things where certain things happen repeatedly in military history to the point where you wonder, are none of these generals familiar with military history? Because they do seem to use the same tactic a few times successfully before they move on. So the enemy is retreating, sending the cohorts. If anyone's ever played Ancient Rome Total War, you'll recognize these formations.
We're on to the march. Okay. Brilliant. It's quite well drawn as well. So yet another victory for you, Caesar, and he's like, not yet. They're tough customers. We'll have reinforcements, and near the clearer, deadlier than before. And what you lot doing it? Well, so he's coming in. We don't want to intrude, but you may be the bravest, but we're the most tactful. And I says, that's quite enough. Get him.
And it's about time to cry havoc.
Watch out, Hissy, watch out, a couple of panels.
Yeah, I'm about to. Of course, cry havoc, the dogs of war. And let's slip the dogs of war. I'm going to show this one because this one looks all right. So we're there. And maybe we'd better let this go. And So, of course, we have our old friend, the pirates. I'm trying to just scroll it so we don't actually see that as we come back.
Yeah, okay. But you say but then you get down a couple of panels later. You get Caesar saying, he's been told to flee. Caesar's like, send in the guards, And we get onto the next page, and it's like, but yesterday the word of Caesar might have stood against the world. However, on that day it overcome the Nervi. And so, but obviously, sending the guard is very much a Waterloo reference.
Yeah.
That is
on
very
that day,
much.
he didn't come again.
And I'll get into farewell,
Waterloo's
Caesar.
not my area, so by all means, go ahead, Jeff.
Sorry.
By all means, go ahead if you want to discuss Waterloo, because it's really not my area.
Yeah, I'm just trying to go down because there's a I'm trying to find something I saw earlier as well, but I'm trying to remember it where it was.
We have
it was because I had something noted for when I got to it. That was all.
But yesterday the word of Caesar might have stood against the world. That day he overcame the Nervi is a reference to Julius Caesar Act 3. So it's a nice Shakespearean reference there.
But there's where was it I was looking for?
There's a few
during
nice...
right in the
there's a couple of nice literary references.
Okay, well, what
here.
it is, there was a reference in French to in the French version, I couldn't, when I had in my notes, it isn't in the English version, that said the guard dies, it does not surrender. Now, I'll say this: the guard is this is a reference to Napoleon's imperial guards, who had the reputation of never being beaten. Nobody beat the imperial guard. They never ran. They never fought. However, at Waterloo, right towards the end of the battle, he threw in the imperial guard, and they took an absolute hiding from the British. And when according to sort of the legend of it, really, that when the guard fled, the French army fled. Now, you should also point out that right about that time that a second army was just coming into the picture of Prussians. So suddenly Napoleon was facing two armies. But I'll say this about Napoleon's the Imperial Guard. I think their reputation was very overrated.
Yeah. The thing is with Imperial Guards throughout history, okay?
Yeah.
They're the last on the battlefield, so they're fresh. They're usually the most expensively equipped and highly trained. And they're coming into the battle basically to clear up afterwards. They're very rarely in any real danger.
Yeah, that's generally what happened. Their reputation was, though, they never got beaten. They won all these battles.
Yeah, like the Praetorians.
Yeah.
They're not...
Even some famous Roman generals like Pompey the Great kind of had that reputation of coming in at the end when grabbing the glory.
Okay, listen, it was, what, 75 years ago, and the Americans are still gabbing on about coming into the Second World War in the last 6 months. It still happens.
Well,
so it's, and never mind the Americans. I might not like him, but if it wasn't for Stalin.
Yeah, mind you, if it wasn't for I will say if we went for the Americans, we could have had a bit of a problem on hands with Stalin, I suppose. But anyway,
this I wanted to point this out. Chaos umpire sits, chance governs all is from Paradise Lost. It's a Milton reference. And I do like this one for the journalists and writers among us. You know that we'll be publishing to the world about you. Publish and be damned. Print and be damned. Famously, Arthur Wellesley threatened to publish Harriet Wilson's memoirs and letters. Also, this was... I'm not sure if it's still their policy exactly, but I know going back, there's a magazine in the UK called Private Eye, that very much had a policy of if it's the truth, print and be damned. And at one point, they, as far as the story goes, and a lot of this is hearsay, what I'm repeating, so if it's wrong, disclaimer, not an expert. Story goes that they had to raise the money to fight a legal battle where they were accused of libel, even though they'd printed the truth, purely from the readership. Otherwise, they would have gone bankrupt. So
I didn't realise how far I'd kind of almost gone on actually before I was out of the string, because I was almost like a page ahead of you.
Yeah, no, this is why I sort of gone back to make these little comments while you were coming back.
Yeah.
Because that Publish and Be Damned is quite fun. And I grew up hearing stories about Private Eye, using subscriptions and readership donations to save itself. Well, before his Lop's time.
So I got to Ingram's, I suppose, was the guy before him. Yeah.
Ingram's very much Publish and Be Damned.
So they got to the point where practically Caesar just says they're equally back to Rome. See, Obelix has got a souvenir, which is that board that the pirate, what was left of the pirate ship. Looks like a seaside souvenir. It says, looks like he's even got some mussels sticking to it. Mussels? That's fishy. Wonder how fish would go with chipped root vegetables.
Yeah. So the origin of fish and chips. Excuse you. Now this one, I'm going to try and
you gotta love the next one.
The artwork on this. I'm going to zoom out so we can see it a bit better. Which is just I'm trying to zoom out enough so we can see it all without zooming so far out. So we'll go there. This panel, it's almost an exact copy of the Peasant Wedding Feast. Can you pronounce the artist name, Jeff? I think you could if your internet wasn't misbehaving, because it looks like you've frozen on us. I'm going to try, but I'm going to say before I do that, German is really not the language I'm any good at. Peter Bruegel, the Elder. It's from the sort of 1560s, late 1560s, 1568. I've got in my notes, and the panel is almost an exact copy. The only thing in there, of course, is that we have our recognizable characters.
So I'm having some internet issues again. Yeah, the Peasant's Wedding was where we're at, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're at the Peasant's Wedding. I did try and pronounce the artist name, but I mangled it. So if you can do that.
Peter Bruegel the Elder, I think it's, or Pieter, I believe it's probably.
Pieter, yeah. It looks like a German name, doesn't it?
I'm probably butchering that. It sounds it's probably.
It looks German.
I would have thought he's Dutch. I would have thought.
Yeah, German, possibly Dutch. It's that family of languages.
Oof, yeah.
So that's just, as Ringers put it, that's a pure Uderzo flex. That's what that is.
So they decide that part friends.
And just before we do, and there was Revelry, and there is a sound of Revelry by Night. Again, more Byron for you. And let me zoom in here, because this is our last page. And we're back in their home village. Has Jeff gone again? Yes. He'll be back. So back in their home village. And they really like the Byron in this one. So off they go. Sent off with some lager and provisions. Friendly bunch, these Belgians. I like them. So, and then they come home, and Chief's wife wants to know if he's remembered the mackerel, which she did send him for at the start of the book. And do we have Jeff? Don't know what's going on there. Yes. Damn Jeff's internet. Does not want to know today. Hopefully he can get back before I finish up the stream. I'm probably not gonna end it without him, because that wouldn't be right. But let's see. Oh, we have a moving Jeff.
Right.
Do we have a moving Jeff?
I'm back. Yeah, you have to drop the.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going. I'm just having so many internet issues. We got to the screen here, to the final screen.
Yep. Yeah, so we're on the last page.
Did you notice
there was a tie between the French and Belgians.
I want you to notice something right down in the bottom left-hand corner there. Little rabbit thing there.
Yeah.
He's looking and he's looking sad. He's looking at the name of Goscinny.
Yeah. And he's sadly looking over his shoulder towards Goscinny's signature. And the Byron quote again, on with the dance, let joy be unconfined. But the little rabbit is again another little nod. It's
so end of an era really for this, because this was this had been their Goscinny and Adairs's joint project, Asterix.
I mean, there's a lot to say about this last one. I do like the little owl tool. It's a very sweet last image. Obviously, we're very used to seeing this by now, but I think this is one of the first ones where we see that we see it from the other side. Normally, when they're eating, we see their faces. We don't see them in profile like this.
I want to say, Ring quite likes the fact that we've got the PDF, that we're getting a vintage book look about this as well.
Yeah, I think for this one especially, it's very fitting because it is.
So I just want to take that off screen here. See.
Yeah.
Okay. Good book, I thought. Good book.
Good book. Obviously, I think done in a way that's a very fitting tribute. I wouldn't. It's not overstated, but it's there. And it's not, it's not showy or anything, but we know that this is quite obviously. It's sweet. It's just really sweet the way these little touches were put in as the nod to, this is kind of the last joint project. And it's a sweet little story as well. There's nothing too problematic in it aside from the usual pirates, but by that point they're fairly established.
So I mean, effectively, we said we'd sort of make a series thing of this. Now, whether we're going to do like a big recap thing next week, we yet to decide that, haven't we? I think, but we probably will do something. Then maybe we'll take a break for a week or two, or however long it is, and then we're going to go into the post-Goscinny year, the Uderzo. Uderzo wrote them solo all the way up to 2011 when he sort of handed it off to other people finally. But I think a lot of people some people say that some of the early books Uderzo did by himself kind of did reinvigorate the series a little bit, because some people felt it had gotten the Asterix had gotten a little stale at this point. Although personally, from the last few we've read, there was some problematic ones, but I don't know if I could call it stale.
No, I wouldn't have said stale. Formulaic, yes.
Yes.
Very. It's at this point, I think, if you followed these books all the way through, at this point, the formulas become so familiar, it's a comfort. It's like watching your favorite thing over and over again. It's
See,
not.
the next one in the series is called Asterix and the Great Divide, which we'll get to probably in a few weeks, because we might do something next week, and then we're probably have a break for a week or two, I think, before we
see what we're
resume.
doing. I did have an idea for what we can do next week, because I know you like to host your open chats, and I know we do have a core of, I'll say 4 or 5 dedicated audience members.
Yeah.
So how do we feel about hosting an open chat, and we'll see if any of the audience members feel like popping in and joining us for just a discussion of the whole series so far, because that could be a nice way to round it off.
It would almost be like a. I hate to say this, but it'd almost be like a version of Media Musings, only for Asterix, which is just my little way of segueing into go and watch Ring in a minute.
Yeah, go and watch Ring in a minute. Or we could also call it our finishing banquet. Just like all the Asterix books. At the end of the book, there is a banquet. At the end of the series, there is a banquet. So we could do that as well. We will make sure to tie Cacophonics up securely before we start.
Ring volunteers as tribute.
Ring volunteers. So we could do. It was just a thought I had that might be quite nice to round it all in.
Yeah.
So we will probably be reaching out to those of you who we know have got YouTube channels.
Yeah.
I am Danger Hissy on Twitter. If you're interested in that, and obviously we know who you are, we know who the familiar faces are. Within reason, I'm most of the familiar faces. It'll be on your channel, Jeff, but I'm happy enough to sort of share a platform. Obviously, we will only have 4 slots because this is StreamYards. But I'm sure
we could have a few in and out or whatever. It's
a few in and out if you fancy it. You don't have to stay for the whole thing, and we'll just have a chat about the series so far, find out everyone's favorites, what you like, what you don't, and just take it from there. I think
that'd be a good. I think we'll put some feelers out, certainly see if anyone wants to be involved in that next week. Well, speaking of streams now, I mentioned obviously we've got Media Musings coming up real soon, which Ringer's just put the link to. But Hissy's a busy girl today.
Yeah, I'm a busy Hissy today.
Yeah.
I'm on Media Musings when we finish here. I'm hoping Wing's going to give me time to go top up my coffee. And on Media Musings, we're covering Orlando in honor of Transgender Awareness Week. Is it week or is it month? I think it's week. And then I am on Sit Down with Debunkers tonight, 7 p.m. UK time, so in about 4 hours. And we're talking human rights and how human rights differ in different countries across the world. So that should be fun.
Yeah. Yep. So you should be doing equality on their show, which is a show I've never done on there yet. Although to be fair, it's not really a show because of the nature of the show. It's probably not one that's suited to me really, but it's a good show, and anyone in here is not sub to Sit Down with Debunkers. What's wrong with you? It's an awesome channel.
How are you sub to us but not sub to? How are you sub to me, who's produced like 2 videos and a dozen live streams, and not sub to Sit Down with Debunkers? You need to fix that.
Yeah.
If you want to reach out to me, I'm sure I can work something out with anyone who wants to join us next week. You can also reach out to Scummer, I'm sure, who's...
Yeah.
What's your Twitter? Are you Godless Scummer on Twitter as well?
No, I'm not. My Twitter is... I'll just say it's @JeffBreeze1. I'll put it in the comments, but I don't mind putting my name. My name's out there. I'm not too bothered.
Yeah,
So
mine's out there. When you go on my Twitter, it's plastered across the top. You can't miss it.
So it's there in the.
Yeah. So either of us, drop us a tweet, drop us a DM, and we'll see what we can do for you. See if we can get you in and put a schedule together. Anything else you want to show, Jeff, before we sign off?
No, I suppose other than what we're doing, what we might be doing next week. You watch out for it. I might be will make an appearance or two on critical questions this week, which has gone back to. Well, let's just put it this way: it'll be starting about now, like this time of day, most of the next few days. So I'm sure, because the UK's back in lockdown, Dave's moved it more to an afternoon show again for the time being. So,
cool. I mean, I'm never
sure
on
I'll
there
make an appearance or two. Yeah, you're always
I'm never on there
working.
because I'm working, but I do like to watch it and listen to you a lot sometimes. You do get into some quite interesting discussions.
I mean, we get into some quite stupid ones as well, but
yeah. Well, I said interesting, so you know, interesting has a lot of different flavors. So do go find them as well. They're on Critical Cripples channel.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting who does that. Dave, who is usually the show master for us, but he's not here this week. I hope he's okay. So yeah, I think that's everything. Any sort of Patreons or anything you've got that you want to?
I do not have a Patreon or anything like that, but always welcome new subscribers to my channel. You know.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all the rest of it. I do now have a Ko-fi. You see the Danger Noodle at Ko-fi. It's the green logo. You can't miss it. If you feel like buying me a coffee or helping towards getting Ring back to the UK, every little helps. And that's sort of the last thing I've got to shill at the moment. That's the newest thing. As always, you can find us on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube. We're here. And we are heading over to Media Musings now. So with that, I think taglines.
Just take care. Take care, guys. I'll see you later. Salute.
Yep. And as always from me, take care, be good. And if you can't be good, be careful.